Thanks, Will. As small businesses work to reopen their doors after pandemic lockdowns, they're running into a new problem. Bloated unemployment benefits are actually hurting their ability to get employees back to work. John Michael Brunetti is the co-owner of Rock and Taco in Roswell, Georgia, and he's seeing the problem firsthand and joins us now. John Michael, thank you for being here, and I love that restaurant name, by the way. It's pretty cool. So thanks for joining us this morning. But so let's ask you, what has been the implication on your business to these long-term unemployment benefits that people are receiving?
As we're opening back up, number one, thank you very much for having me. But as we're opening back up, we're starting to see that people have been patiently waiting to get back out, and they're excited to get back out. But that also means that we're seeing an influx of people that need to be taken care of as guests when they come into the restaurant. And it's been impossible to find someone that would like to work.
So what do you think, as a business owner, what should be done here? Obviously, you're going to have a lot of people coming out and saying that many suffered as a result of the pandemic, as a result of government shutdowns of the economy, of businesses. So those unemployment benefits are needed. So you have to weigh the two things. What would be your proposed solution as a business owner right now?
I 100% agree that I do understand that people do need the money to make sure that they can get all their bills paid and make sure they have food on the table. But at some point after the stimulus checks have gone out, people are making more on unemployment than we would be able to pay them to come off of unemployment. So the biggest thing that we've seen is that people don't want to work for the money when they can make just as much or more sitting in their house. So at some point, I think it's supposed to expire in September, but that's the end of the summer. That's after all the rush has come in. So it needs to be some kind of plan where we slowly roll back these unemployment benefits so it forces people to say, hey, we're back open. It's time to get back to work.
Yeah, and that's an important conversation that we're having right now about whether we're disincentivizing work and what the implications of that will be long term. One thing that's really interesting about your bio to me is that you're also a financial advisor. Would you be able to speak to a little bit what you're seeing from that angle in terms of what people are actually doing with stimulus money when it gets in their hands? Are they spending it? Are they investing it? What's happening actually behind the scenes?
Investing it, because there are a lot of people that didn't need it or weren't expecting it, and all of a sudden they get a stimulus check in their checking account. So therefore, they are reinvesting it. They're putting the stock market into some of these. I have different GameStops and things like that. That's the number one call that we get is, hey, can we get on some of these hot stocks? And that's just not the way that it works. But less people are putting the money into the economy, which is what the purpose of it was. But more people are definitely using it to invest in their savings. So that's definitely something I've seen at TrueVestment. So,
do you have any advice to people, finally, from the perspective of a business owner? We've had a lot of business owners on the show who've struggled, and we can all understand why through the pandemic. But advice to them from a business perspective and a financial advisor perspective right now in these difficult times as the economy starts to reopen and people have some trepidation about what to do and how to approach it because they're not sure what's coming down the pike in the next few months.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. That's every business owner is walking on eggshells because they don't know if there's more money coming to help them or if it's going to be the end of it or if they just need to open back up without limitations. We're waiting on that with the state of Georgia, which I feel like we're very close. But the biggest thing is just to hold on. I feel like there's a lot of people that are understanding of the situation that a lot of people are going through. But hold on, try to find the employees, try to make the guests happy when they come in. But I feel like we're getting to the end, so don't give up on us now.
John Michael Brunetti, that's some great advice. Thank you for being here. Rock and Taco. Listen, I like a little rock and roll with my tacos, so if I'm ever in the neighborhood, I'm coming on down. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Sounds great.